I was introduced, actually, my parents like to tell a story of before I was born, my dad, during my mom's pregnancy, would play this African instrument entitled the mbira. He'd play this African spiritual hymn on my mom's belly. And when I was born, in the hospital, you know, as when babies are born, they're crying and wailing and screaming. He started playing this piece on the mbira, and I immediately stopped crying and turned to look at him, as the stories go. So I was kind of exposed, I guess, from birth, but then growing up when I was 3, 4, my parents always had WBGO and WQXR, the classical and jazz radio station, on, and many of my dad's friends made like playlists of Motown songs and Jackson 5 and Stevie Wonder. You know, so I grew up listening to all the great music at a very early age. I remember the first tune was actually, although it wasn't in that key, it was much simpler. It was. And I remember it was Linus and Lucy, the theme Linus and Lucy from the Peanuts, and I was so interested in just the bass line versus the right hand, and I remember like I really wanted to play the part that everyone loves, which when it goes to, I guess, the bridge, it's like the, or in A flat it'd be the, you know, so, but yeah, that was the first piece I ever played. Man, if I had to pick one, this is hard, this is really hard. If I had to pick one, Barry Harris. He's the first one that comes to mind. I mean, it's so hard to pick, you know, all of the greats. Bud Powell, Thelonious Monk, Oscar Peterson, Wynton Kelly. Barry Harris came to mind just because I was recently listening to him. He was playing I think I was listening to All the Things You Are. He's just so fluid in his lines, and he's incredibly soulful in his bebop playing, and I think that he really represents jazz in like the most raw and natural way, and he's just a beautiful soul. And I actually had an amazing opportunity to be a part of a master class that he did at William Patterson my freshman year. He came and he was slotted to only talk for about an hour, and he ended up talking for 3.5 hours. And I was the, I guess you could say, guinea pig. He singled me out, and I went on stage, and he like, for those 3 hours, I sat in front of the whole program and him, and he was like questioning me, and you know, the first thing he asked me was like, play a C chord, you know, and I knew a little bit about him, so I knew that he, you know, the whole like the Barry Harris, like the diminished, the scales and all that stuff, and so I knew that he liked, you know, lush chords. So I played, I think, like a C major 7 with a 6 in it, like a, you know, something with that note. And I remember, but I kind of like, it was more like that. And he was like, oh, play that again. So I did, and he was like, do you have the 6 in there? And which is in this case an A. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, a lot of people don't do that. I like that. And then I was like, oh, okay. But he was, from that point on, he was like super influential, and I check out so much of his music. I've never been, and so actually September will be my first time when we have the kickoff gigs. But I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to playing with Kenny and Nick. You know, I've heard great things about them, and it's going to be a great week working with the kids in the high school and playing on, you know, the other gigs and being with the host family. I'm very excited for it. Whew. Well.
dark and cold, just like the winter, just like January is.